Thank you. It's a privilege to have the opportunity to talk to you. I'm sure some of you are more accomplished than anything I have to say. But I'll still share some of my ideas. Some of them are a bit, non-traditional, and some of them are fairly traditional. The topic at hand is, increasing the odds of success, building a business in the 21st century. And, I want to talk to you about a couple of different themes, and, I'm going to touch on two main themes of things that I think we can do to increase the odds of success. And, I'll start with the first theme that's actually fairly basic, and I'll talk about the second theme that I think, then I'll try and see if there's something I can do to help with the second issue. The first thing I want to talk about is the concept of profit. Most businesses, that start, there is an issue of, profitability. And most businesses in the early stages have a hard time being profitable. And even if they are profitable, there is always a cash flow issue. Okay? And I want to talk to you about, how to think about profit and how to approach your business in such a manner so that profitability is more likely. Okay? I think of profit, when people ask me what is profit, I tell them it's a difference between two numbers, revenue and expenses. So if your revenue exceeds your expenses, you're profitable. And then look at me funny, as if I have, and I think I've said something profound. Okay? And I actually feel I am saying something profound, but I need to illustrate, because I think pictures can tell 1,000 words. So I will illustrate that in a pictorial manner that hopefully you will relate to better, and you will feel maybe I added some value. Okay? So think of a 18-wheeler truck that's on the highway. These big, huge, humongous trucks, 18-wheeler. So there's an 18-wheeler truck going in the front. We'll call it revenue. Okay? Then there's another 18-wheeler truck right behind it, okay, that we'll call expenses. Okay? In between these two trucks, there's a tiny little Volkswagen, okay, that's called profit. Okay? So you got this 18-wheeler in the front called revenue. Then this got 18-wheeler in the back called expenses. And there's this tiny little Volkswagen sandwich in between called profit. Right? So if your revenue truck, slows down, and your expenses truck doesn't, what happens to your Volkswagen? It gets crushed, right? In the same manner, if your expenses truck speeds up, but the revenue truck doesn't, your Volkswagen gets crushed, right? So if you want your Volkswagen to survive, you need to balance, maintain a balance between the speed of the revenues and the expenses. So if the revenue slows down, the expenses have to slow down. Right? And expenses cannot afford to increase until the revenues start going faster. So once you understand the concept that profitability really is not actually a difference between two numbers, it's a state of mind. Profitability is a state of mind. Okay? And, I was talking to a couple of my friends here that I was asking them, and he's saying, well, are you profitable or not? And he's saying, we are profitable, but we are investing money back in our business. Okay? To me, which business doesn't invest in itself? Right? Every business has to invest to secure its future. And never a day will come when that investment will cease. Right? Some day it may be large, and some day it may be a bit smaller, but there will never be a day when you cease to invest, whether that be in R&D or sales or marketing. You're always doing something. Unless you're from Groupon, when they say that they'll stop investing in marketing and all of a sudden become profitable. Some of you know what I'm talking about, right? Okay? But really, there is no day in the future of any business that you will ever stop investing. So you cannot think of profitability sans investment. Investment is a part of your expenses, no matter why you do it, no matter when you do it. And you have to think of profitability while making investment. Okay? So you have to say, investing in the future of my business is a part of my business. That is what I'm going to do all my life. And I've got to figure out how to make profits while investing in our business, not when stopping investing in my business. So that's the discipline I want you guys to develop. That will increase your chances of success, is to understand that investment is a constant. You'll always be investing. And you have to learn the discipline of creating profits while investing, not when I stop investing. Okay? Now, so that's the first of the two concepts, and I'll end that by saying one minor thing. So there are two ways for you to think about when you run your business. In practice, how do you apply this? You say, okay, I get it now. I want to, create profits. So there are two ways to apply this, and if you apply it one way, you'll be less successful. If you apply it another way, you'll be more successful. So I want to tell you what the two different ways are. So let's say you say to yourself that, look, here are my expenses. I know what I'm going to spend this year. I know what the employees I have, I know my rent, I know a bit about my marketing, I know a bit about my sales, commission, right? So you say, here are the expenses I have. And let's say, for the argument, you say, I'm going to spend $5 million. My expense budget is about $5 million. It's relatively fixed at maybe 4.8 or 5.2, but I know I'm going to spend about $5 million. I need to go get $6 million in revenues. And then I'll have profit, right? Okay? That method of running your business is less likely to create profits. Tell you which method is more likely to create profits. You look at your year, and you say, conservatively, I think I'm going to generate $5 million in sales. Okay, I'm looking at my year, kind of have an idea of what my clients are, what my already existing contracts in my hands are, what I think I'll sell. And I think I'll generate about $5 to $6 million in revenues in this year. And then you say to yourself, okay, so I can probably afford to spend about $4.3 million in expenses. Are you with me? So then you budget your expenses according to what your revenues are going to be. When you see your revenues are going to hit not 5, but 5.5, you can release the expenses a little and say, I can afford to spend another $300,000 or $400,000. When you see your revenues are going to hit 6 because you're doing well, and you're constantly adjusting throughout the year. So you start at the low end, you budget your expenses so that you can make a small margin of profit. And early on, it's a small margin of profit. As you get more mature, you may ask, so in the beginning, a 5% margin may be fine for you. Later on, you might want a 10% margin, then you might want a 15% margin. So you decide in your mind what profit you want to make, okay? And then you budget your expenses to that number. So if your revenue is estimated to be $5 million and you want to make 10% profit, you can afford to spend $4.5 million, okay? And then you say to yourself, what does $4.5 million buy me, right? See, we don't run our household the way we run our businesses. In our household, we don't say, let me invest in my household happiness. Yeah, okay, 2 minutes? Okay. And you say to yourself, this is my income, and I can't afford to spend more than my income. When my income goes up, my level of standard of living goes up. You don't take your standard of living up first, hoping that one day it'll catch up, right? So you've got to run our businesses the same way we run our personal lives, okay? Now, so that's the one point I want to make. I feel that will absolutely, if you guys can ingrain that discipline from day one into your business and saying that I'm going to ingrain that into my mindset, you will probably increase your odds of success. Now, this concept doesn't apply to everybody. So if it doesn't apply to you, you know it, and please don't try to apply it. So this applies to some of the people and may not apply to all of you, okay? Now, the second thing I want to close on is the issue of mentorship. I find that the single biggest thing that hurts entrepreneurs in being successful is having somebody who's helping them, teaching them, coaching them. You won't think about wanting to excel in a sport without having a coach. Even kids who play tennis have a coach, right? Okay, forget basketball, forget football, team sports. Even individual sports people have a coach. It's important to have a coach, a mentor, when you are being an entrepreneur, particularly because it's not something that's taught in school that easily. None of you were trained as an entrepreneur in school. At least I was not. I know most of you probably were not. Okay? So we need to find a good mentor that we can work with. And the best gift you can give yourself is find somebody who is willing to mentor you. Okay? Now, with that, I'm going to make a small pledge. Okay? I feel that finding a mentor is a difficult thing to do. And I'm going to try and create a web-based resource to enabling people, definitely in the United States, but possibly eventually broader, to help connect successful entrepreneurs with mentors. And all of you who are successful entrepreneurs, and there are many of you, I'd like you to share in the pledge that not that you will create this web-based tool, but that you will sign up to be a mentor. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a web-based tool that will enable people to sign up as mentors, who will enable people who want to be mentored to sign up as people that wish to look for a coach. Okay? And then I'll help people match from mentors to people who want to be mentee. And I'll create that web-based tool, and I'm committing to you that I'll do that. And with that, I will stop because I'm being told that I've run my 7-minute limit. Okay? Thank you.